My clothes fit better. I lost a little weight. The joint pain went away.
Wait, went away?
Went away. I have energy and my mojo back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Manuel, the co host of Transform Table Talk Live. And today we've got a great interview with Amy, who just recently graduated the Transform program. Amy is a woman involved in the ministry, and she's a woman who is in the process of reclaiming her future and her health after dealing with enormous tragedy. She was a caretaker for her husband who had cancer, and she took care of him for over 6 years. That took an enormous toll on her body and on her health. She started dealing with things like insomnia, and that was even before she started caretaking. But she had terrible insomnia where she was waking up all throughout the night, extreme fatigue, in part because she wasn't sleeping. She was dealing with weight gain, she was dealing with hair loss, constipation. She had a lot of digestive problems, and she knew that she needed help addressing her hormones. Well, she tried to get help from her doctors, but they dismissed her. It wasn't until she found Dr. Maggie in the Transform program that her life started to turn around. I can't wait for you to see where Amy is now.
Hi, my name's Amy Patton. I am born and raised in a little town outside of Pittsburgh called Swickley. I am the mother of 3 daughters. They're grown, and the proud grandmother of 6 grandchildren under 3. For fun, I love to do wedding flowers for friends. I'm passionate about my pup, Vivian, who is a Boston Frenchie mix, and she's deaf. Fun fact.
Oh, how old is Vivian?
Vivian's 3.
Okay, 3 years old. And
Absolutely.
I know you were married for many years as well, but sadly, your husband is not with us anymore. Talk to me about that.
So I was married just shy of 35 years, lost my husband to cancer, and I was experiencing a lot of stress from caregiving over 6.5 year period that I was caring for him. And as I said, I have 3 beautiful grown daughters, and they were super supportive of me being proactive and taking care of my health, and said, hey, mom, it's time to prioritize you and your health. And there's no time like the present. So
Yes. Yeah, and I'm so sorry for your loss and the whole journey. You said taking care of him for, was it 6 years?
6.5 years.
Was incredibly taxing on you. And it sounds like it really took a toll physically. Let's talk about some of the symptoms that you started to accumulate while being a caregiver.
So beginning caregiving coincided with me going into perimenopause and then eventually menopause. I started gaining weight. I really struggled. I had terrible insomnia. And then just started to develop digestion issues. I was diagnosed with GERD. My A1C started creeping up, cholesterol issues, and just fatigue and loss of kind of mojo. I really was feeling like my hormones were out of balance. I couldn't put my finger on it. I'd brought it up to my primary caregiver multiple times. She was uninterested in doing further thyroid testing because my TSH was normal.
How frustrating is that when you know there's a problem, but your medical provider refuses to even look into it?
I found that to be incredibly frustrating. And I find that about medicine in general, that they're more interested in addressing your symptoms instead of getting to the root cause. And I just didn't feel good. I wasn't well rested. I was eating fairly healthy. I was exercising, and I was continuing to gain weight. And basically, she offered me sleeping pills and a diet pill solution if I wanted. But she said, there's no sense in really addressing this right now. You're under too much stress. And I'm
Wow.
like, I need to do something,
Yeah.
and totally invalidated nutrition. So
And yet you knew that obviously food was going to play a key role. It sounds like you were asking about it, but your doctor just blew it off.
yeah, absolutely. Or, hey, maybe we should put you on an antidepressant. You're going through a lot. And granted, I was going through a lot at the time, but I wasn't particularly depressed. But my middle daughter, Jessica, was a college athlete and big time in nutrition. And she started just harping on me like, you need to start sleeping better, eating better. And hence I began looking into, a lot of different options, following lots of functional medicine doctors.
Okay. And one thing I didn't hear you mention, but I know that you also, I believe, were dealing with was pain, right? You had joint pain as
A lot
well.
of joint pain and swelling in my fingers. My mom has a lot of arthritis and degenerative disc disease. So I felt like, uh-oh, here we go. I'm going down that road,
Mm.
like a freight train. And one thing Dr. Maggie says is kill Godzilla when he's an egg, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel all these things. I know what the next generation looks like. What can I do now to stop the freight train?
Okay, so you had quite a lot of symptoms then when you add it all together with your fatigue and your joint pain and your insomnia. Where would you rate the level of, I don't know, discomfort in your life at that point?
My discomfort would be on a level of like a 7 to 8, mostly fatigue. A lot of that came from habitually not sleeping for like 7+ years. It had started just prior to my husband's diagnosis. And then it just really got exacerbated when you're up and doing meds every couple of hours and listening to, what's going on. You're just on high alert. And I had that wired and tired feeling. And
Mm.
my kids were just noticing that I've always been a very upbeat person and willing to go places, do things. And I had just lost my energy and sort of my zeal to do stuff. And I just was a lot of back pain, a lot of swelling in my fingers and joints.
Mm.
And I think I mentioned before, my mother has a history of arthritis and degenerative disc disease. And I'm like, oh man, I'm heading right down that path.
Yeah, I have to do something now. Was it less than a year after you lost your husband then that you came across the Transform program?
Yes. He passed away the end of 21. And it was July. I was just on the internet and I stumbled across the water challenge, and I joined the Facebook group and joined the water challenge and felt so significantly better at the end of 10 days. I'm like, I'm signing up. People just said, oh my gosh, your skin looks so much better. Oh, have you lost weight? And the biggest thing for me was like it started to improve my digestion. I had never been constipated earlier on in life, but menopause, perimenopause, all of a sudden I was struggling with constipation, and just being hydrated, I felt so much better. I'm like, water? And I knew that, that,
You
but
know that.
nobody does it.
Right. It's so simple. But when you actually have that personalized formula in front of you and you have a doctor to back it up telling you, hey, this is what you need to be doing and you will feel better, it's amazing.
But I also noticed there was a hormone mastery program. Having been newly widowed, I was still figuring out things, but I just really wanted to get started. And I figured I'm going to start with the hormones because I'm sure that's the problem. And once I master that, if it's a good experience, I'll continue on.
Mhm.
Well, it
What,
was a good
what did
experience.
you learn about your hormones, Amy?
Well, I learned that I am PCOS,
Mm.
which like actually kind of confused me highly. As I was reading through the program, I'm like, oh, this is my daughter Logan, 100%. Look at all these irregular periods, migraines, infertility issues. I'm like, I'm not
To a T.
PCOS. Yeah.
To a T. But then you didn't quite fit the bill in your mind.
No, I didn't. I had a few little stray hairs here, and looking back on it, probably a little endometriosis situation. But no, honestly, I was a little bit surprised, and my testosterone was really high.
Mm.
Fatty liver. Now that rang a bell with me
Mhm.
because I had had a little discomfort, right by my right rib, and so when my testosterone was elevated, I'm like, okay. And then my adrenals were honestly kind of a nightmare. Like
Well,
they're
I imagine based on what you're saying with all of your fatigue, with your insomnia, what stage adrenal fatigue were you in?
so right between 1 and 2, like high arousal, off the charts, and
Mm.
then starting to increase again at night, which explained the insomnia. So I met with Dr. Maggie, and she's like, "Oh, well, you're an easy case. Your blood sugar, your liver."
What did that feel like to have a doctor finally understand what the problem was and then tell you, we can lick this?
Yeah, I super encouraging. In fact, so it was great going over and reviewing my labs with her. And I already knew prior to talking to her that I was going to do the whole program, because I was like, okay, everything I've read, order matters, and I'm starting with the end piece. I got to go back to the beginning and start with blood sugar. So,
Mm. So let's jump right to it and talk about how are you doing now? Let's talk about how much better. You mentioned a 7 to 8, probably, with your fatigue, with your insomnia, with your joint pain, with your digestive issues, including constipation. Where would you rate all of that now?
I have seen a lot of improvements, or as we like to call them, wins in the program. Digestion for me was so huge. Like, I couldn't believe how quickly taking a digestive enzyme turned around my digestion, like back to normal, like I was in my 20s. Like, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? This has been like a decade of, just kind of being out of whack and just feeling bloated. My clothes fit better. I lost a little weight. You
Mm.
know, it just was amazing. The joint pain went away.
Wait, went away?
Went away. The joint pain went away. I've had one flare since I've been on the program, period. And
And we're talking about you were having joint pain every day prior to
yeah,
the.
like lower back pain, knee pain, swelling in my fingers, in my elbows, my wrists. That's what made me originally approach my PCP. I'm like, this is weird. I'm having joint. She's like, your labs look great. I'm like, well, I'm having joint pain. I don't feel great. I feel tired. I'm getting back pain when I should wake up feeling rested, but I'm not feeling rested. I'm dragging.
That's a frustrating thing to hear from a physician. I've been there too. Oh, we don't think anything's wrong. Your labs look great. So you must be great. And you're over here saying, no, I don't feel great. Something is wrong. Can we please investigate? It's
Well,
frustrating.
and then she actually did run an initial lab for me, and my ANA came back positive.
Hmm.
And then they ran a second lab, and I said, "Where are my findings?" Just like, "Well, they dismissed it and didn't run any further testing because you didn't qualify at whatever threshold." So, you know, with
So
it,
it must have been a low level positive or something like that, and they didn't run
right.
it forward. And yet nobody's looking any deeper to figure out, okay, what is going on with Amy and how can we help her more importantly?
I think it is very frustrating to feel dismissed when you go to a doctor. I'm getting a full blood panel, which a lot of people don't. But if I look back at my blood work, now that I know how to do that,
Mhm.
I see that my vitamin D was very low.
And no one ever mentioned that to you.
Never brought to my attention, which is infuriating to me, with as much as I've learned about vitamin D in the program and the importance in balancing your hormones. So that was just super frustrating. I felt like inflammation in my body, swelling, pain, fatigue, insomnia. I was being prescribed sleeping pills and offered antidepressants.
Mm.
I'm like, I don't need these. I want to get to the bottom of this. Something must be fueling this. Why can't I lose weight? Why am I not sleeping? There must be some reason. I'm glad you think my labs look good, but I don't feel good.
So then with Dr. Maggie, you joined the main program. You're already feeling so much better. I want to hear about some of the game changers for you. What do you think? Because this kind of stuff doesn't just happen magically. What do you think caused all of this?
It's hard to isolate just one thing. Blood sugar was huge. I think what I didn't realize about blood sugar is not only is high blood sugar hard on your body, but low blood sugar is hard on your body. And I think that had a lot to do with me waking up at night. So just taking golden balance and relaxer and trying to get some protein and fat into my diet before I went to bed has been, I think, a huge game changer. I didn't know what the word cruciferous vegetable meant before entering the program. So trying to get those into my body and just help the process. I'm vitamin deficient. Vitamin D and B12 I found are low. So once my digestion started improving, I'm starting to absorb those vitamins better. I just recently retested my labs, and my vitamin D is starting to come up.
Mm.
And I also was taking the bad form of vitamin B12, and I wanted to find out what my true baseline was. Once I stopped taking that, I was like, ooh, I need some B12. So I just started taking that.
And so you're bringing up topics that are making me want to just mention the education in this program. You learned the proper
Oh.
kind of B vitamins to take. I mean, these are things that certainly most doctors are not talking to us about.
The education you receive at this program is absolutely invaluable. It's probably one of my favorite things about this program. I mean, there's so many things. It's so amazing. You don't know where to start. It's just unbelievable information to apply. What I wanted was data. What I wanted was information that I could apply personally. I'd read everything. I'd known a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I didn't know how it applied to me. And I
Mhm.
didn't have the test results in order to know where my body was deficient. And I love the forum of learning, and I love the mastermind calls. There's nothing like reading, learning, preparing, and presenting your data and listening and learning from other people. You can't, I can't speak highly enough about it.
Did you have reservations? I know you mentioned, it finances. That was a big challenge for you.
Joining the program, finances was an issue to
Mhm.
figure out how to pay for the program. But where there's a will, there's a way, and
Mhm.
God provided the way. One video sticks out in particular.
Yeah.
Maggie did a video about her mother, losing her mother to
Mhm.
ALS, and how that impacted her, and how she had taken the pain that she had gone through and found purpose in it and was finding promise for her future. And
Mm.
that really was the driving factor for me. I had watched Western medicine really fail my husband. And I knew autoimmune was present, especially in my children, and I was starting to see it in my own life. And I was not going to let a tragedy go unused.
Mm.
And I can't tell you how many people and how many conversations I've been able to have since starting this program, and conversations I've had with immediate family members, and just sharing information about supplements
Mhm.
that, it just makes it all worthwhile.
What do you think your husband might think about you taking charge in this way?
Oh, he'd be a total fan. He would be an absolute fan. He was a family person. He adored my girls, adored me, and was always in our corner. So he would be 100% behind me, cheering me on, and wanting to know what was I learning and how was I applying it. So
I think he'd be pretty proud of the progress that you've made and everything the hard work, because it really is work and it takes time, effort, and commitment to dedicate yourself to this program and then to see your results. How has this program changed those around you?
ooh, that's a good question. My mom's always wanting to, she's always like eavesdropping on whatever module I'm listening to. Hey, do I need to be on that? you know, Going through the program, I've been able to talk to a lot of friends who have Hashimoto's and thyroid issues. And it's shocking to me how many of them haven't had ultrasounds or aren't protecting their thyroid in any way. And just what I've learned about AI and our increased risk for cancer. I, I just, you can't shut me up. I'm always talking to the people I love about it, even strangers. My one daughter, Logan, has PCOS and has had fertility struggles. She sees a functional doctor, and actually a very good one, fortunately. But we've been able to brainstorm, and I'm always like, "Are you on selenium? Hey, you're a lousy methylator. Darn it, you got that from dad. And so we talk about that, and hold each other accountable in terms of staying on supplements. That's another part of the program I think is just unbelievable is the support you get from your pod. Um, I love my pod. I have an amazing pod, and we still stay in contact. We remind each other it's time to retest. We go over supplements, ask each other how we're doing. Community is huge, and it's great for building mindset. And I learn so much, and I have new friends that
Mm.
help me hold me accountable, because this journey doesn't end after, the first 2 months. It just keeps on going. And there are highs and lows. And when you're in a low, it's nice to have someone encourage you so you don't get in that bad mindset.
I'm curious, what did you think about working with Dr. Maggie?
I really enjoyed working with Dr. Maggie. From watching her videos prior to joining the program, I just thought she was very genuine. And
Mm.
it's one of the things that just made me want to say, this is how I need to do this. And I think she pulls no punches. She holds you accountable. She asks you hard questions. But at the end of the day, she's for you. And she celebrates your wins. She's vulnerable. And she's sarcastic, which I relate to.
Yeah, she loves to laugh, right? Loves to laugh. But I
Loves.
think you really hit on it when you said she's for you. I experienced that as well. And I now know her personally, a great friendship with her. And she really cares. She cares about the success of every single person that is going through the program. Sometimes more so, even than the people may care about themselves. And that really, I think, lights a fire or lights a light bulb over their head saying, okay, if she cares this much about me, I better care as well. And I need to do something and I need to listen. And then you see the life transform from that point. So, what did you learn about mindset?
So coming in to the program, I'm a mama bear. I love hard on my children. I'm a huge empathizer of other people's feelings. Been in the ministry all my life. I care about people deeply. Sometimes I set very poor boundaries
Mhm.
because I'm a people pleaser and I love on people. You need to choose your inner circle wisely. I am blessed to have a great supportive family. I'm blessed to have a great supportive pod. And you learn to let go and to forgive the things that you don't have control over. And you learn to say no to the things that don't fill you up.
Mm.
And that's hard.
Okay, so I want to hear about some things that you can do now effortlessly or feeling great that prior to the program, impossible.
I am waking much more rested than I was, for
Mm.
sure. And I've noticed inflammation coming out of my body, my hands, and just moving around. I live in a condominium or a townhouse, so I'm up and down the stairs, running up and down the stairs like it's my
And
job.
before that would have been very painful.
Yeah, at times it can be very painful when, I was flaring. Yes. And I just have energy. I have energy and my mojo back, like to want to hang out with my grandbabies, and my kids and just be up for things because I've got lots more life to live. So,
You
yeah.
certainly do, and you have a lot to look forward to. What would you say to somebody who is maybe just coming across your video, just the same way that you came across Dr. Maggie's videos when you were contemplating this program, and they're wondering, is this right for me?
I'd encourage you to take the plunge, to invest in your health, invest in yourself. This program has so many benefits. It doesn't matter what your diagnosis is or if you're chasing a diagnosis. You know your body. If you're not feeling well, it's to your advantage to be proactive instead of reactive. Autoimmune is progressive, health issues are progressive. If you address them in the early stages, be you will benefit in the long run. These people are real. These turnarounds are real. I mean, some of these turnarounds are amazing, absolutely amazing. And it's what, jazzes me up and keeps me going. And if I'm falling off their wagon or not being disciplined, with my eating. Hearing people's stories of what they've turned around is what keeps motivating me and want me to share this program with family and friends.
You mentioned that autoimmune issues and health issues in general, they're progressive. They don't stop. And I want to ask you this next question with a lot of love and compassion. But where do you think, what do you think might have happened with your husband's health? You mentioned that he had Crohn's disease to me and that he was on immunosuppressive medications and that he ended up getting a rare kind of cancer. I'm curious, where do you think your husband's health might have been had he found the Transform program years ago?
What I wouldn't have given to find this prior to his diagnosis. What I know about drugs and Humira and immunosuppressants and what it does to the body, it's just a gateway to allow disease to come in. I, in my heart of hearts, believe that's what triggered his cancer.
Mhm.
I will never know. And at this point, it doesn't matter. I'm a huge advocate for that from my family, for my own personal health going forward. When I'm dealing with inflammation or, you know, proposed antibiotics or steroid use, even like in my grandchildren who are having recurrent ear infections, I'm all over my children. Stay on top of that. I don't want them on antibiotics. How can we address this? My one daughter's taking her daughter to a chiropractor and it's helping with her eustachian tube drainage. There are other ways, there are natural ways to address these things. And this program opens your eyes to those things. All kinds of things that you might not think of, like dental care, and they all work together. And there's so much value in this program.
But I'm curious, where do you place the value on all that you've learned now and all that's happened to your life since joining this program?
Oh, I don't think you can put a price on the value of what you get from this program. It's just amazing. Knowledge is power. I love having my own data. I love that I can retest every 3 months and I don't have to wait for a yearly visit and go in there with trepidation, like, oh my God, what am I going to weigh? What's my blood? What are my blood results going to be? It's so worth the investment. It's so worth the investment. I mean, I haven't second guessed it. I have the tools of a lifetime to take care of my body, to take care of the people I love. It's empowering.
It really is to be able to have that understanding of, oh, okay, I know exactly what that means. And better yet, I know what I need to do to address it. That's a great feeling, not relying on anybody else.
The resources are endless. The bonus materials, I don't know. I love it. I could spend, it's like binging Netflix. I binge Maggie videos, bonus material.
I do the same thing. My husband's like, are you watching another module? I'm like, yes, I had to go back and learn about this. Well, Amy, I just want to say congratulations on turning everything around, taking care of you, focusing on your future and your health and the exciting things that are going to happen now in your life because you've been through a lot and your body really took its toll. Your health took a toll, everything you've been through, but you've been able to really make some big changes. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
It was so much fun getting a chance to talk to Amy. She says she has her mojo back. And I didn't know her before, but I knew her just a little bit by getting a chance to talk to her during some of the mastermind calls. But you can really tell she's a different person and she's approaching life with a different mindset. She is such a loving and caring person that she was so used to just giving too much of herself. And then that was also making her sick. So if you can relate to that or anything in Amy's story, or maybe you know somebody who needs help with digestion issues, with fatigue, with insomnia, tag them in this video. Or if it's you, go ahead, reach out. There's a link above or below this video to start a chat with a member of the Transform team. Thank you so much for watching.